Queen City Tune-Up brings teams from all over the East Coast to South Carolina to prove where they stand in their regional rankings. This year's tournament went through a lot of changes due to the weather. Typically, this tournament has 4 pools with 5 teams, followed by a 12-team winner bracket on Sunday. With heavy rain the week prior in South Carolina, grass fields were not an option, resulting in pivots in game location and pools. We now have 5 pools with 4 teams, with only a 4-team championship bracket on Sunday. Oh, and instead of playing games in the morning and afternoon, teams were playing games at 8 o'clock at night. Today, I will look over the tournament from pool play, bracket play, and notes I have. Let's take a look at the pools. Pool A does not have many surprises, with the only upset being Yale beating UNC Charlotte. I doubted you, Yale, and I am glad you proved me wrong here. UNC demolished everyone, going 3-0 and having the best point differential for any team on Saturday. The UNC versus UNC Charlotte game was streamed, and this picture can summarize the entire game for you. Pool B had a shock in Michigan State going 0-3. They played against Alabama Huntsville in a streamed game, and they didn't look too bad. Huntsville did have mistakes throughout the game, but they were able to capitalize on Michigan State's mistakes more, and they had a good second half surge to beat Michigan State 13-10. Everything else went to chalk, with WashU going 3-0 with a plus 19 point differential. The best game in Pool C was Penn State versus NC State. Winner wins the pool. Penn State takes a commanding lead into halftime, and it seems like they have it locked up. NC State starts clawing back and gets a few breaks to bring the game within 1, but they come up short. Or do they? Penn State barely holds off NC State, winning by the smallest margins and taking the pool with a 3-0 record. The rest of the pool went to chalk. Pool D was a fun pool. South Carolina continues to prove how they're a legitimate team, going 3-0 and winning every game with ease. The rest of the pool decided to have a rock-paper-scissors battle. You may be asking, how is UNC Wilmington ahead of Alabama despite a worse point differential? The tiebreaker goes to the point differential in games played between the teams in a tie. In this case, Carnegie Mellon, UNC Wilmington, and Alabama. Carnegie Mellon's 4-point win over Alabama is the major reason why they are in second in the pool and Alabama is in fourth. Pool E started off with a game between Maryland and William & Mary, 2 teams I was hyping up in my preview video. Maryland showed in the first half the potential of a team they can be, taking the half with a multi-break lead. William & Mary proved their talent by sparking a comeback and bringing the game to Universe. Maryland holds off William & Mary in a gritty game between both teams, making me feel confident about my predictions. Little did I know that while this game was happening, Chicago was upsetting Tufts on Universe. Chicago then stomps Maryland 13-7 and beats William & Mary on Universe to win the pool, going 3-0. Entering this tournament, I thought Chicago was a sleeper team, but not to this extent. Going 3-0 is very impressive with the teams they had to beat. Tufts went 2-1, beating Maryland easily, and William & Mary on Universe. As we've heard, Maryland won their one close game, then lost the next two by 5 and 6 goals. We have heard the word Universe a lot in this pool as well. This is because William & Mary went 0-3, losing every game on Universe. Well, we have 5 pool winners going 3-0, with only 4 spots in the championship bracket. How will it pan out? Chicago, unfortunately, does not make the championship bracket, having the worst point differential between the 3-0 teams. Very tough luck for them, but they'll be fighting in the 5th place bracket. We only had one semifinal streamed, and it is a shame that UNC versus Penn State was the streamed game. The decision wasn't bad. These two teams faced off in the finals at this tournament last year. The outcome was as bad as it could have been. To preface, the wind on Sunday was absurd. On the streams, you could tell it was windy, but you couldn't tell that the wind was 20 miles per hour, with gusts being in the mid 40 mile per hour range. Not the best frisbee conditions, and Penn State was not ready for it. They got spanked and lost 11-4. UNC played a fantastic game despite the conditions. They were crossing over O-liners onto the majority of their D points, which helped bolster their D-line offense. They were able to be calm and conservative despite the wind and zone from Penn State. UNC cruised through the game and will head to the finals. The Gamecock versus Contra game had 0 score updates anywhere. Not even USAU had the scores updated by the start time of the final. I only found out once I started watching the final who won. South Carolina upset Washington University 11-10 on Universe Point. I really wish this were the game that was streamed, but there's nothing we can do about it. We have an Atlantic Coast matchup with UNC Darkside versus South Carolina Gamecocks. Let's see how this game goes. The game stayed on this pace the entire way through, and UNC easily won 11-2. This is one of the most dominant performances I have seen a Frisbee team have throughout a tournament. They won every game by 7 or more points, with Yale, of all teams, scoring the most against them the entire weekend. This performance should easily put UNC back up the power rankings, potentially into the top 3. The stocks are up on Chicago. Chicago put themselves on the map by going 3-0 on Saturday, and they got a close win against Alabama Huntsville on Sunday. They did get bageled by Tufts in the 5th place game, but we don't talk about that. The team led by Grant Harris shocked many by this weekend's performance. If they can keep this up, maybe they can squeak another bid for the Great Lakes. The stocks are down on Maryland. The Universe win against William & Mary gave me hope that they would be good, but the rest of Saturday was a dookie fest for them. I honestly do not know what went wrong. I feel like they have a strong team with top-end talent and decent depth. I am still on the train, but it is empty here. I do believe they can come back up, but it's not a certainty at this point. We're going to hold our stocks on William & Mary. 3 Universe losses on Saturday stings, but being able to get to that point in each of those games shows that your team is capable of winning those games. For at least 2 of those games, They had to claw back in the second half to bring the game to Universe, which shows the grit this team has. If they can shore up their O-line, I could see them being a very successful team come regions. The drip of the weekend goes to Michigan State and their long shorts. A chunk of their guys were wearing shorts that go past their knees, and I can't tell if it's so bad that they make it look good or if it's simply that good. Either way, I'm a fan, and I hope more people get on the trend of different Frisbee styles. Like I said earlier, I think UNC moves up a ton with this dominant performance. The rankings will be moving a lot with this tournament and President's Day also occurring this weekend. I could see them being in the top 3, but they should be locks for top 5 in the power rankings. Both WashU and Penn State had similar weekends. Fairly strong Saturdays with a loss in the semifinals on Sunday. It's hard to gauge where these teams will fall in the power rankings, but I expect them both to move down a few spots, being around the 19 to 23 range, right next to each other. South Carolina impressed me this weekend, until the finals. Dominant wins on Saturday, and a Universe Point win against a national caliber team creates a strong case to stay in the power rankings. An 11-2 loss in the finals may wipe that entire narrative out the window. It was a mix of UNC playing fantastic Frisbee and South Carolina playing poor Frisbee. I wouldn't be shocked if they stay in or fall out of the rankings, but there are many teams knocking on the window to enter the power rankings, so I think they will fall out. Chicago is one of those teams that's knocking on the window to enter the power rankings. They had a great weekend, but not enough to make the power rankings in my opinion. Strong, but not strong enough Saturday, sitting them in the 5th place bracket, ruined their chances to make the power rankings. If they were in the winner's bracket, I could see Ultiworld giving them the love and putting them at spot 25. The Sunday results they had, with a win over Huntsville and a bagel loss against Tufts, means nothing to me. Who knows if the teams are playing with full rosters or whatever. If they continue on this run they had on Saturday, I could see them squeaking in at one point during the season. Marcus Lee from William & Mary. He is a rookie, but he brings a ton of energy to this Merriman squad. I don't exactly know the Atlantic Coast rookie class, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was Region Rookie of the Year. Isaiah Mason from Alabama Huntsville. This cut was really nice to see. Ben Dameron from UNC may have been the best player this weekend. He certainly seemed like it on Sunday. He was crossing over to many D points in the semis and finals and was a man amongst boys at Queen City. I have no notes on him, but the lefty puller Logan Piercy from Penn State looks like this professional dunker Connor Barth. I don't know if it's the hair, beard, or what, but I've never seen them in the same room together, so that's all I have for Queen City Tune-Up. There are no stream tournaments coming up this weekend. One tournament to note is Eastern Qualifier, where the winner will be added to the pool for Easterns. After next weekend, we will have Smokey Mountain Invite on March 1st and 2nd. Otherwise, that is all I have. Let me know your favorite moment from Queen City Tune-Up.